My life changed 16 years ago with one simple sentence. After spending an entire Saturday morning cleaning out my garage while my 5-year-old son played alone in the backyard, I complained to my neighbor about the time and effort that had gone into this, what I thought would be a simple spring cleaning project. And she responded with a short phrase. She said, "You know, that's why my daughter is a minimalist. She keeps telling me I don't need to own all this stuff." That short sentence was all I needed to hear. I looked at the pile of dirty, dusty possessions that I had piled up in my driveway. I glanced into the backyard and saw my 5-year-old son swinging alone on the swing set in the backyard. And I knew something had to change. My possessions weren't making me happy. I probably would have said that before that Saturday afternoon. But suddenly I realized, even worse than just not making me happy, my possessions were actually distracting me from the very thing that did bring me happiness in life. And not just happiness, but meaning and fulfillment, joy, and significance. One sentence changed the trajectory of my life forever. When was the last time you sat down and considered the role that possessions play in your life and in your affections? We live in a world that shouts at us from every flat surface that more is better, that possessions equal success, and that happiness can be purchased at a store. But if you've felt a disconnect between what culture says about consumerism and what your heart feels, you're not alone, because that was certainly my story. Today, I'd like to offer you 15 questions that have the opportunity to change entirely how you view the role of possessions in your life. Now, not every question will resonate with you, but my hope is that at least one will connect with your heart and your soul and begin moving you towards a more minimalist life. There are so many wonderful benefits available to us when we choose to own less. More money, more time, more energy, more opportunity to pursue our passions. Just like my neighbor introduced me to minimalism years ago, these questions, I hope, can do the same for you. So let's do this. 15 questions that will forever change how you view your stuff. Number 1, how much money have I wasted buying things I don't need? Reflect for just a moment on the total cost of your possessions, and then consider how many of those items sit unused now in a closet or a box or a basement or a storage unit, only taking up space. All that clutter used to be money, and all that money used to be time. Number 2, ask yourself, how much time do I spend cleaning and organizing my stuff? Consider the hours spent maintaining your possessions, organizing, cleaning, maintaining. Now multiply that out to consider the cost over the course of your entire life. Could this time have been spent on more enjoyable and life-giving activities? By the way, if you want a little advice as to how to figure this, the average American spends 2 hours a day on their possessions. Number 3, is there a reason why I am not content with all that I own and continue to keep buying more? Isn't it true that you already own all that you need? Maybe, probably, even more than you need. And if that is the case, why do we keep buying more? Is it a search for happiness, acceptance, fulfillment, or something else? Why don't we feel content with all that we already have? A 4th question you can ask yourself, who will bear the responsibility of caring for all this when I'm gone. Imagine the burden your possessions could become to others after you pass away, especially if you're reaching the later years in your life. Is this the legacy and the responsibility that you want to leave to the people you love the most? Number 5, what are some of the things I could have spent all this money on instead? List out the experiences, the education, or the opportunities for generosity that could have been realized with the resources you used to accumulate possessions. I had a good friend mention to me one time that he couldn't afford to travel to his friend's wedding. But when he looked up his Amazon shopping history, he noticed he had spent way more than that amount on stuff he didn't need over the last year. Some version of that story is true in differing degrees for almost all of us. Number 6, do my possessions reflect my values and what I consider most important in life? Evaluate deeply whether your belongings align with your core beliefs and your goals for the future. Are they tools for your values, or have they become a distraction from them? Number 7, what could I achieve if I weren't weighed down by so much stuff? Envision the goals and dreams that could be pursued if you were liberated from your excess possessions. Minimalism gives us time and money, focus and energy. Minimalism creates opportunity to chase our biggest dreams, however we choose to define them. Number 8, how many people experience happiness with less than I have? Consider the countless lives filled with joy and fulfillment with far fewer possessions than you already have. What can their contentment teach us about our own pursuit of happiness? Question number 9, another question that we can ask to challenge and change our view of possessions. Am I holding on to things out of fear or a need for security? Challenge the notion that your security lies in material wealth. And could letting go actually bring greater peace and assurance as you open yourself up to look elsewhere for it? Number 10, how would my daily routine improve with fewer possessions? Picture a day with less to clean, less to organize, fewer decisions to make, and less to worry about. What does this simplicity look like for you, and what could your new life daily begin to look like? Number 11, do the possessions I own represent the life I want to live in the present and the future? Reflect on whether your possessions reflect your current aspirations and the path you wish to take moving forward, or do they mostly echo who you were in the past? If it more aligns with your past, then it might be time to realign your possessions with the life you're actively living and choosing today. Number 12, what would happen if I stopped trying to impress others with what I own? Imagine a life where your worth isn't tied to material symbols, where you're not trying to impress people with the things that you own, but with the life that you live. How would this freedom change your relationships and your self-perception? Number 13, could I downsize and move into a smaller space if I owned less? Envision the possibility and the benefits of living in a smaller home. How might downsizing your possessions and your living space change your life in radical ways? Number 14, how do my possessions shape my identity and how others view me. Consider for just a moment the message that your belongings send about who you are. And then ask yourself, are they an accurate representation of what my truest, deepest values are? And finally, number 15, what activities still remain on my bucket list to accomplish? Consider the dreams and the aspirations you've yet to fulfill. Almost never are our greatest dreams related to owning more stuff. They are about experiencing more of life. Reflect on how owning less could free up resources, time, and energy to achieve some of those dreams you've held for a lifetime. Now, these questions aren't meant to guilt or shame any of us. I just want them to prompt introspection and some new thoughts and some new ideas, and hopefully inspire a more intentional approach to the things that we own. As you ponder these questions, you might just find that the possessions you once thought were essential are the very things you can live and live well without. Before you go, if these questions were helpful for you, hitting the like button or subscribing helps others find their way to this video as well. And that in turn helps us build a community of people who care about living simply and living meaningful lives. And that is something that we are both passionate about.